The expressed views of the guests on this podcast are theirs alone and not necessarily endorsed by the host, TWBC, or any associated sponsor. Conversations that are robust yet balanced, on point and to the point. You are listening to the talk of tournament water skiing. This is the TWBC podcast. And now, here's your host, Tony Lightfoot.
All right then, and I would say greetings to one and all here on this latest edition of the TWBC podcast. My name is Tony Lightfoot, and thanking you for your support once again, and especially of this new series on tour with Freddie Winter. And the aforementioned Freddie Winter is joining us right now. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right, Tony. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I'm recording this at about Tuesday afternoon, so you've had a good few hours to reflect upon what happened over there at Lake 38. So you managed to come through with a second place finish. Congrats on that. Obviously, you wanted a little higher, no doubt. But yeah, it's you're off to a decent start with the tournaments you've been able to ski at so far. But how did you reckon you did at Lake 38?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good tournament for me. I think in terms of, a qualified good tournament, I guess, because I think it shows that I've got some ability to keep moving up. I felt like I skied quite well in the first two rounds. I got the best two scores of those rounds, which was nice. And I definitely thought I was going to be able to sort of repeat that. Unfortunately, the final, complete rookie error. I completely messed up the gate. I don't quite understand how it happened still, because we had quite a strong headwind off the dock. I pulled out where I thought was an appropriate place of my first two passes into the wind, so my 32 and 38, and both times I overshot. So I backed it up just a little bit for the 41, and I think the wind must have turned, and I had no speed, so I just was really, really narrow and never got wide enough. So kind of realised from there it was going to be pretty tricky, and I don't know if there was a possibility of me turning buoy 3, but I knew I wasn't going to get to buoy 6 from where I was, so I just took the easy way out and guaranteed the second. But yeah, so a little frustrating in that way. But at the same time, second is not an absolute disaster by any means. And I think the main thing I was excited about was I'm on a new ski, which I was on for 2.5 weeks prior to the tournament. And you never know how these things are going to do in a tournament setting, and it did well. So I'm going to keep moving up. I'm going to keep skiing, keep improving. Hopefully, I think there's headroom with this new ski, which I'm quite excited about. And it wasn't the big result I was hoping for, but it gives me some sort of hopefully a springboard for the European tournaments that are coming up.
All right, then. Yes, I was actually about to ask you about the ski. Thank you very much indeed for kind of preempt me on that a little bit. But kind of how does that really happen? I mean, in the middle. Well, I wouldn't say right smack bang in the middle of a tournament season, but I'm guessing that at the beginning of the season you're riding the other ski, and you're giving whomever you communicate with, who I assume is Will Bush, give them feedback on the ski that you're on, and I imagine the conversation being, the ski's great, but I'd like it to do this. I'm fine with what I got on right now, but I'd like a little bit more. And he probably goes back into his workshop and knocks up something and says, "Hey, give this a try."
Yeah, not quite. Well, so I've been on the Ion 2 for, this is the second season. I was on the Ion 1 previously, so not a massive difference. And in some ways it's a known quantity, and I know that what I can do on it. I can ski well on it. I had some good scores earlier this year and through last year and really the last few years. But at the same time, you're always looking for an edge, right? And if that's changing your diet, changing your gym, changing your training, whatever. Equipment's a part of it. Equipment is a part of it. So I'll always try stuff. Probably it was a bit of an odd time to try a ski, I guess. Right after Swiss, it was a week and a half after Swiss, actually, when the ski arrived. They cut the mold, I think, the day after Swiss or a few days after Swiss. I think I was the first guy to try a 67. And I kind of got on with it straight away. It is a good ski. I don't necessarily have like a ton of input into these things because I'm just not that. I'm not smart in that way. I don't really. I can't. Whereas
as
someone
you've
like Will
said,
Asher,
as you said before, and as you're about to allude to right now with Will Asher.
Yeah, so Will's a guy who knows skis inside out. I just don't have that, and frankly, as much as it might be very helpful, I think I could probably lose my mind doing it. I think I get very odd about my equipment in terms of just trying to keep it in good shape or whatever. I think that if I sort of started to mess with stuff, I think it would turn me crazy. I'd sort of get a sort of Gary Fisher sort of schizophrenic situation going by just losing my mind, right? I don't need to kind of it wouldn't work for me. So I'm lucky where I am with D3 that I've got Will Bush is just, I completely trust him when he makes skis, and he's time and again come out with good ones. So he's always sent me stuff that I've liked, and so the ski arrived, I got on it, and immediately I was like, oh, I've got a better onside. Offside feels a little different. Is it different, good, different, bad? And then over the next kind of handful of sets, I realized that actually it turns more from the tail instead of sort of nosing in. And I think it kind of covers up one of my vulnerabilities, which is where I'll hop on the front too late, and blow the tail or over smear and be off balance. I think this has got a bit more stability through the back end of the turn while still generating a ton of angle. And I like it. So yeah, like I say, I mean, the more I'm on, it's quite interesting. I mean, some skis you get on them and just love them immediately, or you have a really good feeling about them, and then they don't turn out necessarily quite so well. And some skis you get on and it's almost a slow build. One of my best skis I ever had, when I ran big scores on was a number of years ago in 2016, and the first set I had on the ski that year was awful, of this new model, and then I learned to love it. And I'm hoping that's going to be the case here. Same with my first ski with D3 in 2019, the NRG R2. I wasn't in love with that ski to start with, and then over the course of that year, I won my first Masters on it. I won a bunch of tournaments on it, and ran some big scores. So it's nice kind of get that slow build, and I'm hoping that's what's happening here. Certainly, first week was a good tester. First weekend in tournament conditions.
So it's past the Freddie Winter test of being like tournament ready. So you're gonna get ready to rip it hard during the summer, starting off with some of these European tournaments coming up very, very soon.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and it's one of those things, that maybe this is the period of the year where we really are sort of, I sort of laugh, we become real athletes. We've got tournaments every weekend, actually sometimes twice in a week, with the Monaco tournament being midweek, for 5 tournaments in a row. You don't get to train when that's happening. You're just surviving. You've got to recover. And when I say training, you're still skiing in between tournaments, but it doesn't feel like training because you're changing sites. You're just readjusting. You're trying to keep your baseline as opposed to sort of improve. So all the work that goes in for that is really in the build up. It's like sort of training for a marathon. You do all the training, and on the day it all comes out. And so hopefully the proof will be in the pudding. So yeah, I'm taking a bit of a week off now. Letting my hair down, and then I'm gonna next Monday when I return from Amsterdam to the UK, I'll be 100% in business and going as hard as I can for those European tournaments.
All right then, so yeah, I mean, leading into the European tournament. So I mean, how important is having the adequate amount of rest between some of these tournaments? Because these tournaments are going to go by so quickly. I mean, there's that Monaco midweek. I think we got Lacanau, and then there's the Botas tournament, and I think I'm not too sure whether Botas goes before Lacanau, and then Greece, San Gervasio, and
those are your 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, rest is important, and that's why I say. I mean, everyone obviously does it a little bit different. Me, I don't know how it's going to go, but you just, I think it's going to be a case of listening to your body, figuring out, how much to ski in between, and I think that you do so many tournament sets, like generally skiing in tournaments doesn't make you a better skier. It might make you a better tournament skier, but it doesn't make you a better skier because you're not focused on technique really at all, because the adrenaline's there and you're kind of just more, let's get through this. Let's get a big score. And you're immediately going straight down the line. Whereas in practice, I tend to do quite a lot of back-to-backs, and that's kind of how I get my rhythm going and how I get my baseline. So, trying to kind of, keep that balance and keep that finesse, that nice technique through those weeks is going to be kind of tricky, kind of tough, but it will also be, it'll be great. I mean, this is what we live for. We've dreamed for all these years to have a series of tournaments that are, so close together. And I mean, and me, I come from Europe, so I'm proud that the world of water skiing will be focused on Europe for those few weeks. We talked about the other day. I mean, with the Worlds being in Florida twice in a row, you could be, couldn't be faulted for thinking that it's very much an American sport. And it is. I mean, the industry's over here where I'm sitting right now, but I mean, Europe is a huge base of water skiing. There's some amazing skiers from over there. So I think that's very, very exciting. And I'm very happy, that in my career, since 2013, when Matteo Lazzari and his family put on the first San Gervasio tournament, when there was just one, and it was a low cash price tournament. Now we've got 5, big money tournaments, bigger money tournaments than back then, and we're attracting everyone in the world to come over, really.
Yeah, and I mean, from my point of view, I mean, it's been a bit of a boon for me as well, because I get to go back to Europe. I get to go to a few of these places and actually get to do something which is something I very seldom do, which is actually take a summer vacation for about a week in amongst all of that. But I'm guessing less about me, more about you. One question.
Bloody well deserved, Tony. I mean, you work so damn hard for this sport. I'm glad that you're getting your time off as well as being able to be at these tournaments and doing the good work that you guys are all doing.
Yeah, I'm going to be touring about 6 cities in less than 7 days, and that week in between San Gervasio and the European Championships. But here's the question that I put to you: what the worries that you have? I mean, assuming that you do have worries. I mean, everyone does. But what worries you the most, and what worries you the least whenever you're in doing tournaments such as these?
In terms of them sort of all being back to back. Well, I mean, I guess my worry, when I joke about it, like none of us are retiring to the Bahamas as water skiers. Money is, sort of tight. And so when you sit down, like I did, I think last Thursday, and spent, I don't know, $3,000 on flights, cars, rental, hotel, all these sorts of things. And you kind of, entry fees, and I mean, probably at least $3,000. It is an investment. I'm fortunate in that I'm based in Europe in the summers, always have been. And, I think always probably will be. So I don't really include the cost of getting to Europe, because I'm going to go there anyway. But I mean, getting from my base in the UK, I'm going to be staying in hotels for 20, 25 or 26 nights in a row. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money to put out, and no guarantee of getting any of it back. So I want to support all those tournaments, and I'm very happy they're happening. But yeah, I mean, you do need to sort of recoup your investment. It's in 4 weeks. You could go and coach or do a lot of other things that would make you a lot more money than if you have 4 or 5 bad tournaments in a row. So that would be a concern for sure. But it's a roll of the dice in some ways. And you believe in yourself. And I'd say that based on my performances of the last year and a half, been the podium every single time. Except for Miami. I don't count the Masters last year because for obvious reasons. So I mean, I think getting on the podiums, I can start paying those back, paying back the money to myself, and hopefully make some, all in the pursuit of glorious water ski victories.
What worries you the least?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm hugely worried about it. I mean, it'll be different. So summer I'm traveling by myself. But I'm excited. I tend to like most of the guys I ski against. So yeah, it'll be cool. I think we're gonna have a nice time. It's gonna be I think it'll be a good time.
All right, then. So, all those tournaments coming up, but then the all of the stops in Europe will end around about the end of July, and then everyone pretty much comes back to stateside for the Malibu and for the Mastercraft. I'm trying to decide which one is ahead of the other, but I mean, but then things start to settle down a little bit. Do you reckon that you'll be able to breathe a sigh of relief and just chill a little bit, or is it still going to be quite intense from there on out?
As the tournaments finish in August, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So the end of July, mid July, I think 15th, 16th, or whatever is San Gervasio.
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and like I said, probably not that interested in going to Europeans, honestly. So probably won't do that. But yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take a breather. I always do. I mean, I put a huge amount of pressure on myself, and I invest a huge amount of emotional energy into my skiing. So I do always make sure that I have little breaks. Like this week, I'm going to let my hair down and hang out with my mates and have a beer, and so I'll do that. Probably have a couple of weeks where I'm not skiing so hard, and I mean it's important anyway. I mean, like I started training after a 3-month break on January 27th, and I haven't really stopped, and I'm going to go until when's the World Championships finals, like mid October. So you do need to have weeks where you're not training intense, because otherwise your body breaks down. And end of last year, I didn't quite get the balance right. At Miami at the end, I was just exhausted, and mentally as much as physically. So I have to be fresh on the last day of the season for the World Championships, and then I can really relax after that.
All right then. Okay. We're gonna bring a pause to this podcast a little bit. I mean, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a break between now and then. I'm doing LA Night Jam. I'm sure you'll be watching it. I know you won't be hearing Zachary, but I'm sure you'll be watching it. And then there's the World U21s coming up. I mean, that's on my personal agenda within the next few weeks, but. I kind of certainly get the sense now that with a new ski and things looking on the up from here, that you just can't wait for the remaining events to come along, and for you to score a few wins here and there.
Yeah, it's for sure. And I mean, I think. It's like I say, it's nice to get seconds, but it's really, really nice to get wins. And I won, last September at the Mastercraft Pro was my last victory, and I had a runoff the following weekend for the Malibu Open and lost it. And I had a runoff the following weekend for the Travers Grand Prix, a couple weeks later with the Travers Grand Prix, and lost it. Came second at Muma by half a buoy, second at Swiss by half a buoy. Lost here. So yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to get a win for sure. There's a lot of good skiers out there, but I think I'm skiing well enough. I've got the scores that are showing that I'm skiing well enough to get those wins. I just need to put it together, and if you can start getting some victories, that's why we do it. We don't train as hard as we can and put all of this into it to come second. I'm not ashamed to say that as much as I'm proud to be near the top, I want to be at the top, and I'm not happy when I'm not there.
Yep, it's nice to be.
I'll keep working.
It's nice to be Sergio Perez, but everyone wants to be Max Verstappen, I suppose.
yeah, exactly. Well, I don't want to be Max Verstappen. I can't stand the guy, but number one on the podium is where I want to be.
All right, then. This has been the latest episode of On Tour with Freddie Winter. Thank you very much, Freddie, for your input. And the next episode of the TWBC podcast will actually be coming up pretty soon. We'll be covering the LA Night Jam and be talking to a few of the skiers, and also be covering the World U21s as well. But until next time, this is Tony Lightfoot saying ciao for now.
Thank you for listening to the TWBC podcast. Be sure to check out our website at waterskibroadcasting.com. Links to our presence on major social media platforms can be found there, as well as updates to our webcast and this podcast. Duplication or rebroadcasting of this broadcast without written consent of TWBC is prohibited. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform and be sure to join us next time for the next edition of the TWBC podcast.